Hello and welcome back to Boxing Social in association with Betfred. My name is Amir Khan and I'm here at I believe it's the Bolton Whites Hotel Stadium.
Otherwise, we're here where the Bolton football grounds at the back, and this is the hotel that's connected to the stadium.
Well, it's a pleasure to meet you in person this time around as opposed to Zoom. Like Ben had told you beforehand, being one of my dream lists kind of tick off. So here with Amir Khan. But Amir, we kind of had an interview beforehand. People go check that out. So I don't want to go over too much old ground. So I kind of want to just go straight in with some of the questions here, Amir. Like you got Kell Brook coming up, the grudge match, but it's interesting with the style that kind of Kell Brook brings in. It's that kind of classic Ingle sort of style. With the sparring that you've had with Terence Crawford, do you think that's kind of set you up for kind of dealing with that kind of tricky style? I know you've had like different sparring experiences in the past with Kell, the infamous one where you say you scored him. I think Tyan Booth is someone you sparred as well in the past too, who's had that style too. But do you feel like those spars with Terence have set you up to deal with that style?
I mean, obviously the sparring that we did with Terence was amazing, but I think the main thing was there was other fighters, other boxers that we used that were very similar to Kell, who probably showed more of Kell Brook. Obviously, Terence is one guy who obviously walked through Kell Brook and destroyed him. And I think with that being said, I think when I sparred with him, obviously he was telling me things, what to work on. Also, when I was on the bags, he'll come over and tell me things and give me instructions, which was very nice of him. He's always at the gym and always works out, and he's always coming over giving me his bit of advice. Then we had Bomac, obviously, who trained Crawford for that fight, so he knows Kell Brook quite well from that fight. And then obviously now looking at him again, and seeing how that fight went, he knows his flaws. So yeah, I mean, look, end of the day, I know that we have to make sure we stick to the game plan, and we have to do the things that I've been told to do. Day in day out, we've been working with different sparring partners. Sparring partners are coming in fresh, and also these are tough young fighters as well who I've been using, and also sparring partners who have been pushing me, and a lot of them, they've had power, they've had size, they've had extra weight on me. So that way, I was always on my A game, to make sure that I can't be hit with anything. So yeah, but look, this fight's at 149. Obviously, gives Kell that £2 advantage. Obviously, he's going to carry a little bit more power. We have to make sure that we give it a good clinical and outbox him, clinically. You have to make sure that I stick to the game plan, and having Bomac and the team who are drilling it in me all the time in training. Everything we're doing in training is to beat Kell Brook, and it's like I'm visualizing a Kell Brook in front of me every time I'm hitting the pads.
Just a thought on this, Amir. Like way back when you kind of turned over, you sort of reinvented yourself with your style anyway, working with your Harrisons, Roaches, Hunters. I wonder, like going back to when you turned over professional from the Olympic success that you have, did you ever think about visiting the Ingle gym and working with Brenda at all? Because you will no doubt have watched Nassim Hamid and going through, and he'll be sort of like an inspiration for you. Do you ever think about that, adopting that sort of style?
Not really. I mean, I was a little bit different. Had the internet movement that got me through to Olympics and stuff. And I thought by me changing my style, it would be a little bit. Well, you're right. You're good. It would be a little bit difficult because I'm not used to having that style. I'm not a one-punch pick shot fighter. I'm more of the guy who likes to throw combinations with fast, blistering speed, movement, head movement, and all that. So it was a little bit different for me. Whereas I think with the Ingles, they work more on the power, one big shot and everything else. So I thought that won't work for me. But no disrespect to them. I mean, obviously, I just don't feel like my style would have suited it there.
The weight is obviously something that's big coming into this fight. We know that there's kind of weight clauses for when it comes to weighing on the scales the day before, but is there a weigh-in limit on the day, Amir?
I think my lawyer was saying there's some. I don't know. I don't know if there is, to be honest with you. To be honest with you, my weight is quite low anyway. So I don't think it's going to even matter to me. I think there might be like a £15 or whatever, £20 limit, because Kell does like to get big.
That's my point, because we've seen Kell on the scales look how he looks on the scales, but then in terms of him in the ring, he's quite big. And do you worry about that?
No, I mean, look, end of the day, look, I'm a fighter, and obviously been in the ring with like Canelo and bigger guys. So yeah, I mean, No, it is what it is. I think with Kell, yeah, I think he's gonna try to come in the ring big. Well, I mean, let's see. You know, in the day, it's, I think what wins me this fight is my technique and my skills, really.
You've maintained throughout your career and now that coming into this fight that Kel has always been level or levels below where you are. In your perspective, I mean, where do you think Kel kind of ranks in terms of the welterweights of your generation?
I think he ranks. Look, yeah, you can't disrespect him. He's won a world title. You have to respect that. I mean, you know, he's up there as one of the top ones in our generation. He's fought some decent fighters and beat some decent fighters as well. So yeah, I mean, look, end of the day, you have to give him that credit. And like I said, I have to make sure that when I fight him, you know, we have trained for like the best Kell Brook, that the Kell Brook that fought Sean Porter, for example, you know, and we're gonna be fighting that Kell Brook, where he had the power, he had the speed, he had everything. So we've not taken, you know, we've not left any stone unturned. We've just made sure we've done everything and everything.
A couple of quick questions for me. Just how do you also manage kind of you going into the fight? Because you've been a fighter who's always wanted to kind of go toe to toe and go to war if you need to. You've been happy to do that. But you're talking about the game plan and getting that right. But how do you manage kind of yourself and making sure that you don't kind of get enthralled into that?
Having a team of like Bomac and everyone, and every time we were sparring, we did loads of rounds of sparring, and they kind of drilled it in me to listen to them and listen to the instructions and stick to the game plan, because there comes time where I do lose my head a little bit, and I think getting a bit older as well. I think there's in this time where we had COVID and at that time that I was off away from the gym, kind of give me time to think about where do I want to be in life, and how do I want to fight, and how do I want to keep on, you know, boxing, what style I'm going to use. And one thing I realized is that, look, I'm getting older, so I can't still have that fast in and out and throw a lot of punches. I have to be smart now when I box. I have to utilize my energy the right way. So what we did was, you know, I started thinking about it a little bit more, and that made me realize that, look, there's a lot of things that I do in fights that are very risky, like it caused me a lot of problems. And if I just stick to my basic style, I'll be fine. But I just try to do that a little bit more, just to make it more exciting. And I think having that big heart as well can get you sometimes in trouble. You know, having been a very ballsy fighter, go in there and when you don't really need to at times, just get the win. I mean, that's why you have to respect Floyd Mayweather. You know, he's one of them guys where early in his career he was that ballsy fighter, but then as he got older, he thought, okay, fine, man, I have the engine. I'll just be smart and box and use my mind and use my brain, you know, use my skills. I think that's what we have to go to. As I'm getting older now, I'm going to start using more of my skill, more of my technique, more of the skill set I've got, because that's what will get me the wins now.
Lennox Lewis said something that I thought was no worries, no worries. Lennox Lewis said something that was very interesting. I thought watching an interview with him, and he said that kind of like his kind of appreciation within the boxing world kind of grew after he kind of left boxing. People started respecting him more for what he did. Do you feel that you kind of have that same sort of path? Like people will respect your achievements and what you've done more. They respect it now, but even more so when you do eventually leave the sport.
I was very young when I come into Olympic Games, and then I won a world title, being the third ever youngest fighter in Britain in history of world champions. So yeah, definitely, man. I just it's hard because, you know, when you in this sport yourself, you're not going to be acknowledged, or you're not going to be. I do get a lot of respect, but the respect what people think I should be getting, maybe I'm not getting that. But it's all good. Look, it doesn't really matter to me. To me, I'm doing it for me. You know what I mean? I love the sport. I love boxing, and I just love fighting. But if I don't get the recognition, which I think I should be getting, then it is what it is. You know, it's not really bothering me. I've got the biggest fights I wanted on in my career. My dream was to become world champion and win an Olympic medal, and I went and did that. So I've achieved everything I wanted to, and I achieved it all when I was 22. So I could have retired then. I was happy. I would have been happy and content with my life. Obviously now, then obviously as you get older, you wanna be, you know, you wanna do more and more and more. You know, and obviously you become a prize fighter as well. In the day, we all prize fighters, and so yeah. I mean, you know, the way my career's gone, however they want to remember it, you know, it'd be nice to remember it as a champion, and to be respected even more when you retire, because they'll be like, wait a minute, he did this and did that, went to America at such a young age, conquered America, made a huge name, they got best fight of the year. So yeah, those things might people might think about it, think, oh, you know what, he wasn't bad after all. We should have given him a little bit more respect, but okay, is what it is.
Amir, thank you so much for speaking to me and Boxing Social. Wish you all the best for your fight coming up on the 19th. Thank you so much again. Appreciate it.